not the trade that we all were expecting. The Bears trading with the Bills for an offensive lineman. We're going to talk about it all and more, break it down right after this.
Now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. Steve O'Hayes, we in the building today. Talk about this breaking news for the Chicago Bears as the Bears have now traded a fifth-round pick for Ryan Bates from the Buffalo Bills. Now, the thing that makes this interesting, I talked about it on today's daily episode, that Ryan Poles typically, if he has you as one of his guys, he finds a way to get you. And Ryan Bates was somebody that the Bears actually signed to an offer sheet during the 2022 free agency. Buffalo ended up matching, but now 2 years later, the Bears get him for a fifth-round pick. This is a guy who can play center, guard, and some right tackle on top of all of it. He signed through the 2025 season. He has a salary next year of $3.4 million and $500K per game in roster bonuses. Steve-O, when you look at this move, giving up a fifth-round pick for a veteran offensive lineman at that tackle, guard, and center position, how you feeling?
Depth. You need depth. Something I would never say that we don't need. When it comes to the end of, when it comes to the longevity of the season, the most banged up position is the O-line. So one thing we ran into in them last final games was our O-line was banged up and we didn't have anybody of substance to throw into those games to even compete. You look at that last game against Green Bay where most of our great best lineman was out. And it was horrible. Everybody was getting swiped by one move, and it was just a hell of a day. So when you need when you have a GM that's played the position before and preached on the importance of having a group that's dominant on the online, depth is one of them, and he's found some way to find some talent on here. But the thing we're running into now is, can they stay healthy and put in a nice camaraderie of group that can play together more than once? Because I don't know how many games we all played as a group, because we started off early, and then when we did get back healthy, somebody fell off. Either it was Tevin or it was Nate. Nate had a lot of personal issues. Tevin had a lot of freak accidents this year, so you need, especially going on with all the injuries that we know, depth was a key piece on this thing. I know a lot of people gonna trip because it's a draft pick, but when you see somebody you want, and he's 27.
Yeah, 27 years old.
And like you said, we've been having our eye on this dude for a nice little minute. So it's a Ryan Poles move 100%.
Yeah, he's made 19 starts over his NFL career, played in 73 games. He played in all 17 games last season. Now, there are two questions that I'm going to ask you on this one. One is going to relate to quarterback. Before we get into that, though, this is clearly a move that's meant for depth. Like, I don't foresee Bates starting. You never know, maybe at that center position. Now, do you think this signifies another move? Do you think this may be a reach considering free agency hasn't even happened yet? Do you feel like this was the right move of Ryan Poles? Identify somebody that he wants here. Fifth round pick, don't get me wrong. It's a draft pick. Yes, you can find good talent. If I'm not mistaken, we got Roshan in the fifth round last season. So it's not like you can't find some talent there. Do you think this was a bit of a reach to get a depth piece to give up a fifth round pick in this year's draft, considering we don't have a second round pick already?
To me, he can be a little bit more of a depth piece because, like you said, I feel like you will be more comfortable in times when you need him to punch in certain positions. He can do it. He can be a nice swing, like you said. He can go from center to guard to the right tackle, and that's very important for. And we seeing a lot of that happen with a lot of people on this O-line from when Cody Whitehill switched from center to guard. I would rather have this guy doing that than what we had on our team last year. And I will say I do feel like it's a little early because I do feel like for somebody that preached the draft so much and what I've seen in the combine as well as on tape, it's a solid group of guys in the first round and later on in its own lineman group in the draft. So to me, you can run out with a couple solid pieces from the draft, and then you can look in the free agency and start making certain things. But to me, I wouldn't say it's a reach, but like I said, I think he could be a nice plug and play in certain things. So that's why I think it's more of a pick versus somebody you could just pick up.
Facts. Now, the question everybody's going to ask, we even see a couple of you guys in the chat right now asking it, What does this mean for the quarterback position? Leaning towards it, when you look at it, Steve-O, do you think this makes it more lean towards they're drafting Caleb? Are they trading the number one overall pick for that haul to get a lot of these picks back? This seems to me, I will say this. This is kind of a move that you usually see a team make when they have tons of picks in the draft and they're getting a veteran rather than just getting a bunch of young pieces in. I'm not saying necessarily that that's what it means because Ryan Poles is a magician. But when you look at this, Steve-O, what does this tell you, or how does this have you feeling about the number one pick in the quarterback situation?
Honestly, I feel like you could spin it any way you want to. Honestly, I can find ways for the Caleb camp to be like, well, you want to put him surround some people that's older and a more veteran group of old linemen that's have the experience to do such, or you can spin it and say, "Oh, that means we might be getting ready to get a nice haul of picks because we might trade the pick or such and such." So it just depends on how you spin it. To me, it don't tell us nothing but what I just said. We needed more depth. We needed more depth, regardless of who the quarterback was. So it's just a depth piece for me. But people can swing it any way they want to.
And that's what people are going to do, right? Like your chosen way to view this narrative. Some people are going to look at it and say, "Hey, you're adding more depth because you want to protect your new rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams to make sure that he doesn't go through the same things Justin went through." And then some people are going to spit in and say, "Well, the Bears only having 5 now picks in this draft. Are you really building through the draft? If you're trading away draft picks, maybe that means it indicates that you're keeping your quarterback around who's been around now for 3 years." But much like with everything that Poles has done this offseason, even though some people don't want to see it, this is another move that sets them up for either way. Because keep in mind, and this is the logic I'm going to throw out here, if the Bears are trading the number one overall pick, they're going to get an additional second, probably an additional first, but they're going to add another pick. If they're trading Justin Fields, they're probably getting a second round pick back for Justin. So they're going to get another pick in this draft either way. So that maybe made them feel more comfortable at getting a solid depth piece for this team. So it can really go either way. However you choose to view this, how you're going to choose to view it. And like I say with most things, there's validity in either way that you view it for the Chicago Bears. But I mean, like I said, the way that I look at it more than anything is that Ryan Poles tried to sign this guy 2 years ago and two off seasons ago. And much like we've seen what Ryan Poles do before, if he has you identified as one of his guys, he keeps it in the back of his mind. He's not going to forget it. And it's not like it's not a position that we're going to need either way. So
it's almost like how we got Lonzo. We were trying to trade for him, it didn't work, and then we waited for him and got tampering for it. But that's that's usually how it works. And we've seen it with even the running back we got from Seattle. He watched them. He kept his eye on people. He was watching that Miami game with Tyreek Stevenson, kept his eye on him. And when he realized he had the opportunity to draft him, he said, "Come here." And that's the thing. He a man of his word. And his tendencies is if I like you and I can't get you when I can, if it's an opportunity to get you down the line, I'm gonna try to do it. And he got the deal done.
Yeah, and now it just remains to be seen what subsequent deals are going to happen. But this does tell everybody that the Bears are willing and dealing, and they aren't going to hesitate. And so that's we expected an aggressive offseason either way. Free agency is right around the corner, and there's some other free agents that the Bears had looked at in the past that could potentially be there for them this year. So we'll see what Ryan Poles does. I think, as always, free agency is going to add a lot of clarity for what the Bears are going to decide to do with their draft picks, but I do think by the end of this week we're gonna know what's going on with that QB situation. So
I'm not even gonna say it no more because at this point these motherfuckers playing with me. Like, hey, make a goddamn decision. I don't know. Like, I thought we we all know they can't make the move till the 13th.
Yeah.
But at this point, psychologically for both parties, for Justin and your damn selves, can you just peel the Band-Aid off, please?
Yeah.
Just so you can I'm telling you, we see the stress on you. We see you in these press conferences. It takes a load. You're going to get a wave of shit no matter where you're going to. So all you doing is prolonging it. Just get it over with.
Yeah, that's a fact. And the big homie says, "Bros, I can't get a read on Poles and his moves at all." Hey, and I've stopped trying, bro. I've really stopped trying. I've really stopped trying. Like,
and they talk about let Poles cook. I see you, Bill Senior, but at this point, it's at the point where you in the living room and you like, smell like somebody burning something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, Jesus, you've been cooking for a minute now.
So yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, listen, Poe's out here cooking, and we'll see what the meal he ends up serving is. And hey, I know there's gonna be a lot of discourse in here. And we'll see what
Oh
that means,
Lord,
man.
Jesus. And once again, don't do this at the crack of dawn or the twilight. I don't need this. I'm tired of. You know how many times I'm woken up to a ting and it ain't got nothing to do with us.
Yeah, it
I'm
happens a
tired of
lot.
that. Hey, that's what they all know about content creating. That's annoying as hell. Keeping your phone on and you gotta pay attention. You can't take a nap when you want to because you scared some shit might pop off.
Well, the thing with it, luckily this week the Bulls are on a West Coast trip, so I'm going to be up more nights than not. So if it does drop late, I'm already going to be up. So that is what it is, and we'll see, man. We'll see. But y'all make sure y'all stay tuned in. Like we keep telling y'all, we're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. News drops, we drop. Come on now. This is what it is. Follow the show at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. Like I like to end everything on Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you, motherfuckers. Peace, y'all.